He works all day, comes home, says little. He fixes the leaky faucet, takes out the trash, pays the bills. He listens more than he speaks. And when he finally sits down, no one asks how he's doing. No one notices the silence he's carrying, but he notices everything. Most men have never been taught how to express what they want, only what they must do. From a young age, they're told to be strong, dependable, controlled. Crying is weakness, complaining is failure, asking is shame. So instead, they internalize, and what they carry becomes invisible to the people closest to them. But men do want things, deeply, desperately. They want respect more than praise. They want peace more than passion. They want someone to recognize their effort without always pointing out what they forgot. They want loyalty, not in theory, but in the moments no one sees. They want to be trusted to lead, not micromanaged like children. They want admiration, not through loud celebration, but in quiet gestures. A woman who believes in them, a partner who doesn't treat them like a project, a home that feels like rest, not another battlefield. And when these needs go unmet, they don't explode, they erode. Slowly, quietly. When a man feels unappreciated, he stops offering. When he feels constantly corrected, he shuts down. When he feels like nothing he does is ever enough, he stops trying. Not because he's lazy, because he's exhausted from fighting battles he can't name. He won't ask for these things, not because he doesn't want them, but because he's been conditioned to believe he shouldn't need them. So he suppresses, absorbs, performs, until one day he doesn't. And by the time anyone notices, he's already gone. Maybe physically, maybe emotionally, but gone all the same. Men don't want to be worshipped. They want to be seen, not just for what they provide, but for who they are when they're not producing. Their expectations aren't loud, but they're powerful. They are the quiet rules of male love, often missed but never forgotten. When no one speaks the language of a man's silence, they assume there's nothing there. But silence is never empty. Sometimes it's where everything important has been buried. She thought he didn't care. He didn't cry during the argument. He didn't beg her to stay. He went quiet, walked out, and said nothing. To her, that silence screamed apathy. But to him, it was restraint. Pain with discipline. Love without the right words. Women are often taught to express emotion openly, to seek resolution through discussion, and to equate emotional connection with constant communication. It's a different language, a language shaped by years of being encouraged to feel, to process, to articulate. So when men don't speak the same way, many women assume they're hiding something, or worse, that they feel nothing at all. But men do feel, often intensely. They just don't show it the same way. They're conditioned to internalize rather than express, to act rather than explain. A man who's quiet after a fight may be trying to protect the relationship, not abandon it. A man who offers solutions instead of sympathy may believe he's helping, not avoiding. These gestures are easily misunderstood when seen through a different emotional filter. The confusion deepens when women expect vulnerability to look a certain way: tears, openness, emotional storytelling. But male vulnerability often appears in unexpected forms: staying up late to fix your car, showing up when you didn't ask, working overtime without complaint. These acts aren't just actions, they're messages. The problem is, they're written in a language few are taught to read. Misinterpretation turns into resentment. He feels judged for not opening up, while she feels shut out. She wants his heart in words, but he's offering it in actions. And when those actions aren't recognized, he withdraws even further. Because what's the point of expressing anything if it's only going to be misunderstood? The truth is, women don't misunderstand men because they're careless. They misunderstand because they assume men operate like women. But emotional needs aren't universal in form. Men don't want to be asked to feel more. They want to be accepted for feeling differently. They don't need fixing. They need translating. When women project their emotional frameworks onto men, they're not bridging the gap, they're widening it. And in that growing silence, both sides start to believe the other one was never listening at all. He hears, "I love you," but it doesn't land. She hugs him. She texts sweet things, but deep inside, he feels like a background character in his own life. He doesn't say anything, because what is he supposed to ask for? More compliments? More affection? It's not that simple. What he really wants is something no one says out loud. To be needed, not used, not depended on for survival, but needed in a way that makes him feel significant. Men crave that subtle form of validation, being someone's reason to feel safer, stronger, more stable. Not because the woman is weak, but because she sees value in his strength. In a world constantly telling men they're replaceable, to feel essential is rare. And when a man doesn't feel needed, love starts to feel hollow. Modern relationships have changed. Women are more independent than ever, and rightly so. But in this evolution, something quietly shifted. Men began to feel unnecessary, not just financially, but emotionally. Many hear, "Me? I don't need a man. I just want one," but want fades, need anchors. This doesn't mean men want to dominate or control. It means they want to contribute, to protect, provide, problem solve, not because women are incapable, but because doing so gives them purpose. When that purpose is taken away, or worse, mocked, they begin to shrink, not physically, but spiritually. Slowly, they stop trying, not out of laziness, but out of futility. A man who doesn't feel needed loses his reason to stay engaged. He may still love, still care, but he'll grow distant, distracted, and emotionally disconnected. He'll bury himself in work, hobbies, or silence. And the woman will wonder why he's no longer present, not realizing he's been drifting ever since he stopped feeling like he mattered. Telling a man you love him is powerful, but showing him that your life is better because he's in it, that's where everything changes. Validation isn't about ego, it's about relevance. Men don't just want affection, they want to know their presence has weight, their efforts have impact, and their identity has meaning. When a man feels truly needed, he becomes more than just present. He becomes fully alive. She thought she was being loving, checking in, offering advice, correcting him when he made a mistake. But he felt small, dismissed, undermined. To her, it was care. To him, it was disrespect. And that single misalignment started the slow unraveling of everything. What men want more than love is respect, and what women often give first is love. It seems like a small difference, but it creates massive confusion. A woman can love a man deeply, yet still make him feel unvalued if that love lacks respect. And a man can respect a woman profoundly, but seem emotionally distant if that respect doesn't come wrapped in the affection she craves. Men feel respected when their ideas are heard, their efforts are noticed, and their decisions are trusted. Not when every move is questioned, not when they're spoken to like boys who need correction. And when they don't feel respected, they withdraw. It's not about pride, it's about identity. Respect is how a man knows he's still standing as a man in the relationship. Love, to many women, means closeness, sharing, constant reassurance. But to men, it often means space to lead, space to fail without being belittled, space to be appreciated without conditions. So when a woman expresses love through emotional intensity, and a man is silently craving quiet respect, they both end up feeling rejected by the very person trying to reach them. This disconnect shows up in arguments. She wants connection, he wants calm. She pushes to talk, he pulls away. She thinks he's cold, he thinks she's attacking. But beneath the clash is something deeper. She feels unloved, and he feels disrespected. Neither is wrong. Both are unheard. Men aren't avoiding emotional depth, they just experience it through a different doorway. One paved with trust, admiration, and the freedom to stand without being corrected at every step. Women aren't being controlling. They're often just trying to nurture, to connect. But without understanding the male need for respect, even love can sound like criticism. This isn't a battle of egos, it's a conversation of languages. Men listen best when they feel respected. Women open up most when they feel loved. When those two needs collide instead of cooperate, no one feels safe. And without safety, love slowly starves.